we had recently so many new roads in Mauritius. And I personally asked the minister, I said, look, we need to have a backbone of fiber optic around the island. You are constructing so many new roads. It only needs to put some pipes, and then we can put the fiber later on. Doesn't cost much more. Doesn't cost much more. But they don't do it. I don't understand what is the reasons behind them, but it's not done. Now, if you have to put the backbone, you have to dig all the motorways. Can you imagine? So it's a problem of coordination between the different entities that has caused that. Even the wastewater, connection that goes to each house. Now in every cities they are doing that. So they are digging all the way to your house and connecting a pipe, right? In many countries, even France, they put additional pipes so that every house is already pre-connected with a pipe where you can put the fiber optic much easily, which they don't do. So that's why I said the political leaders must have the will to make things happen. Otherwise, we leave this all the time. Is that okay?
Thank you, Mr. Roy, for the brilliant expose. You mentioned about political barriers, and yet one of the problems that we, as customers, would like to see tackle is the question of number portability. We would like to keep the same number and move from operator to operator. Do you think there's a political barrier to implementing this, or a technical barrier?
Sorry, I didn't catch too much. Can you repeat that?
Number portability. If we keep the same mobile telephone number and move from operator to operator, is there a technical or a political
keeping your
obstacle?
Number and moving to another operator.
Yes.
It's called mobile portability. Okay? Yeah, mobile portability exists in UK, and in the UK, only around 8% of people use mobile portability. And it's a huge cost to implement that. It's a huge cost. So we have not been too for implementing that in Mauritius. If only 6 to 8% of people use it, and it costs, too much money. Now I know for the customers, it's great. You can move from here to there anytime you want. If you're not happy with the operator, you can move there. But the costs have to be borne by operators, unfortunately, not by the government. So if I am the bigger operator with most customers, I'll be against. If I'm a smaller operator like Chile, maybe with 3% market share, of course I'll push for it because I want to get the customers of the big one, right? So, but that didn't go further because we did not recommend that.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I've been listening very attentively to your speech, and it strikes me that we have developments in the field of transport. Fossil fuels are giving way to solar energy in cars. And there might be, I don't know, would you guess that in the foreseeable future there would be technology that would allow for beams, rays to be stretched all across the skies into buildings to, provide this kind of service rather than the digging of the streets? That's the first question. The second one is, you did mention something about a regulator serving as a brake rather than a facilitator. Right. In South Africa, we have a CASA that regulates broadcasting and, of course, telecommunications. I don't know the authority that does it here. But in what specific ways would the regulator here be a facilitator instead of serving as a brake because I believe regulators, the job of a regulatory body is to ensure that blocks are put in place so that certain things do not happen, things don't go wrong. But we could be serving another role as a facilitator, which I don't know. Would you please elaborate? Thank you.
Well, but the first question you mentioned, if there's any technology that can easily get through buildings so that we don't have to dig and all that, is that?
The 1984 by George Orwell, that kind of futuristic thing. Do you think in reality we will have that kind of thing? Because genetic engineering was predicted in 1984, George Orwell. That book was written in 1948. Today we can see it. We can customize a human being, give it the kinds of features that we want the child to come out with, kind of. So I'm looking at, in reality, could we have something in the future that could beam light rays to give us all these things rather than having to dig up grounds and the rest of it? It's something I'm just thinking about. I don't know if it's a possibility.
Well,
Thank you.
I have seen quite a few new technologies coming up which says they can go through buildings, you know, lasers and whatever. But I don't see anything that has come out commercially successfully. Otherwise, we would have used it. Because our big challenge in operators is to provide a wider area of coverage so that we don't have to put too many cell sites, right? And at a frequency which is available in the country. So we still use the 3G, 4G frequencies and even 2G frequencies. The lower you go in frequency, the wider you get. But in lots of countries, the lower bands are already reserved by military, and they will never give that up, you know. So if you, for example, there was a band of 700 megahertz. Today we use 2.1 giga. So 700 was going to be liberated for 4G. So can you imagine the radius change between following this change, you know? Normally you have like 6 kilometers radius, but with the lower, you could have 7 times more coverage. But the police or the military will never let go of these frequencies. So this is another type of problem that we face as operators. Otherwise, it would have been much cheaper for operators to set up radio cells and therefore maybe lower tariffs for customers. Your second question?
How does the regulator become a facilitator? Because I think regulatory bodies regulate. In what ways does the regulatory body facilitate?
How does the regulator become a facilitator? Well, I use the word enabler, okay, which is, well, can mean facilitator as well. What example can I give you? I mean, when we went to 3G, for example, we already decided what to do, what technology, what supplier to use, and they asked us to have an application as if we were applying for a new mobile license. Now that was a bit odd, you know, because we already had the frequency that we use that changed. So they had to carry, I mean, they have to justify the reasons for being there, right? So they had to create a seminar, have a discussion on the topic, and then come up with with some proposals, and then approve our application for 3G. Now, all this delayed a lot our project. So, for me, I mean, when I say they have to become an enabler, they need to know about 3G before us. They need to learn what is it and create the regulations before we try and implement. So that the moment we decide to implement, regulations are ready, legislation, if necessary, is ready, and we just have to get there, okay. That's what I meant.
Thank you, Mr. Roy, for the expose. During the talk you were having, you did mention that there was a few factors that help the pace of digitalization in the merchant landscape. But however, you did hint twice, up until recently. So I felt that somewhere in your opinion, those factors, the value of those factors has waned down. If today you are given that power and authority to redirect the digitalization in Mauritius, what would be the three main or most important points on your roadmap?
Okay. First of all, I think we need a clear strategy, a clear and detailed strategy of how we want to move forward. I have read the past 10-year plans from the Ministry of ICT. I think the plan has expired or almost. But it's a 340-page document. I wonder how many people actually read it, or it's left in a drawer. You know, it's used as a reference when there's a speech on telecoms or whatever. So first, the strategy has to be very clear in a concise document so that everybody understands. Otherwise, I don't see many people reading 340-page document. And it's the same for lots of these reports. So first, we have to agree on the strategy. In Mauritius, for example, one of the things we have to do, because provision of internet to every household is a necessity. Okay, when we have that, then people can work at home. There will be less traffic and savings from fuel. So many benefits we get. So provision of internet, reliable, high quality, to every household and business is a must. Now to achieve that, is different roads to meet that. We can dig up all the roads, which we don't want to. But one of the operators, the incumbent, already has pipes all around the island, which they don't want to share. So sharing of infrastructure should be imposed. Of course, the others should pay for it. But there's no point going back to dig. We had to do a backbone around the island, but it was only like 25-kilometer backbone. But we didn't need to do that because we could share it from the others. So these are the things that have to be clarified. Then second, I think the coordination between universities and even schools. You know, the teachings at school, they must start teaching proper communications, ICT skills from basic schools, not only at universities. And the universities must follow the trends of the requirements of operators. So education, and then there has to be an application of all these technologies and a very thorough follow-up. I mean, I was recently in Singapore for a checkup, And I was there in 2011. I had some scans and all that done. So I went to the doctor. I said, I don't have my scans, but can you check? He went online, requested for authority, and he just got it, just like that. You know, 2011 to 2017, they have it just like that, online. I mean, if you go to hospital today, which I don't wish you, it's a mess of a paperwork, and if you want to find your files, it's terrible. And it's not difficult to do. Another example I can give you, I was in UK going to claim my VAT for something I had purchased, and there was like 20 civil servants working. A long queue, I almost missed my flight. And I went to Singapore, it's all online. You just scan your passport at the airport. If they need to check your product you're buying, normally they do for jewelry. If they don't, just go and collect your money inside. So easy. So these things exist. We're not saying we're going to reinvent this. These things exist. We can do this. And by doing this, we'll substantially improve, because that's the objective also, will improve the quality of life for our citizens. And that's what we want. Answer your question?
I have a question to you. We started with the barter system, then we have the money, then the plastic money, and now we are hearing about bitcoins. Do you foresee anything of this, this kind of change taking over the mobile phone technology from your experience?
Something is always possible. I could not believe when I joined in 1987 that we'll have a phone smaller than this. We have it, and it does so many things. Now everybody is rushing to get the iPhone 10. It's got so much power in that phone, and you don't believe things are coming, but it happens. So for me, I think everything is possible.
Okay, everything is possible. There is one more question? No? C'est bon?
Well, I think it has been very, very fruitful, this discussion, especially with questions coming from the audience. And I hope that Mr. Roy has been able to bring some light, to whatever questions you had. So thank you so much, Mr. Roy, for being with us this morning. And we would like to offer you, on behalf of the organizing team of the conference, a token that will help you to do some sailing. Please. So now in your free time, you can do a little bit of sailing around the island, maybe to South Africa.
Well, it's not called Titanic.
It's not Titanic, no, you're safe here. Thank you.